17-5 for fighting. Hey guys, it's me, Mike Bernier, back for the 5 for fighting this week. As you can tell, I have to go serve a 5-minute major for fighting. So I'm going to hang out with you guys for a little bit. We're going to talk about the National Hockey League. A little different. You guys are getting this thing probably Friday midday. That's because I'm going to be very transparent with all of you. Because that's what I feel like I should do. It is Friday morning, as I am currently recording this on my drive to work. My week has pretty much been turned upside down. I got a phone. I got a phone text from Big Jim on Tuesday, basically telling me that the Huddle Up podcast, the network that you're listening to this show on, was going to be down a couple guys due to some goons taking out our best goal scorers. So they called me up from the AHL. I did my due diligence for Coach Big Jim to fill in for student of the game Kyle Nash and Matt, who were both out. And Ernest was going to be late, and Jim basically didn't want to fly solo in a 5-on-1. So he called up the Tom Wilson of the Huddle Up podcast, and I gooned it up for him. Was able to help him out. But Wednesdays is normally the day that I record this show, so the live stream kind of pushed this back. Also, unfortunate for yours truly, I woke up Tuesday morning to my apartment, basically my bedroom, half of my living room, and my bathroom being completely flooded due to a running toilet. So literally, my week has literally been about as chaotic as it can be, and that's not including the work schedule that I have with Amazon and the holiday spirit, and being as busy as we are. If you haven't already, check out the Alexa Thank My Driver program. Basically, the short story is, you think that your driver did good with the delivery, and you have an Alexa device, just say, Alexa, thank my driver. Amazon is graciously giving $5 to its drivers for every comment like that they get from the Alexa devices. So it's a cool way to potentially help your Amazon driver, if you think they did a great job, earn a holiday bonus check. I just think it's a cool program. I think Amazon's doing its best to help us out. So major kudos to them. But that's enough about my personal life. Let's get into the reason why you all are here, and that is the National Hockey League. Our 5 topics, as always, and then we have the Grip It and Rip It Player of the Week. We'll start with topic number 1, just 10 days after suffering a stroke, and the questions on when he'll play hockey again. Chris Letang of the Pittsburgh Penguins rejoined his team at practice earlier this week. Obviously, we're still a bit away from games and knowing how long the game absence will be. But nice to see Letang at practice around his teammates. I don't necessarily know when we'll see him. That stuff isn't really being discussed right now. Like I said, really just happy to see Letang around his teammates and enjoying keeping those guys on their toes. Obviously, like I said, when we talked last about the Letang stroke, obviously all of the thoughts and prayers from the Huddle Up podcast family go to Letang and his family, and hopefully this is the first step in the right direction for him, being a part of the Penguins playoff push later in the year. Obviously, as we get more information, I'll talk about it more in depth. But nothing has been decided on if/when Letang will return to game action for the Penguins. The 2022 season has been one, and I've talked about it on this show multiple times, that has been ravished by injuries. Basically, almost any player that your team, your favorite team has probably missed a games, months, or the entire season due to some random rash of injuries that has taken over. Again, Washington Capitals fan here. Lost TJ Oshie. Obviously haven't had Tom Wilson. Evgeny Kuznetsov missed a couple games. Anyone that you could think of outside of Alexander Ovechkin and Darcy Kemper have missed games with injuries. Patrick Laine, who we've talked about on this show. And it's time that the Stanley Cup champions cannot avoid the problem themselves, as they lost arguably their best player and a guy that I would give that distinction to. That's Nathan MacKinnon. MacKinnon is going to miss up to 4 weeks with an upper body injury that he suffered Monday night against the Flyers. Big blow here to the Colorado Avalanche. Maybe not in the standpoints of, oh, we're not going to make the playoffs now or anything like that. But that guy is an absolute force for them, and him missing any major amount of time is not good. Trying to see exactly what happens with the injury. I'm trying to read exactly what it was. They said he played 5 minutes, and then there was a tie up between him and a member of the Flyers. I didn't get to watch that game. Again, my work schedule's been crazy, delivering stuff. I do try to watch as many good games as I can, and Colorado's a team that I like to sit down and watch because of how good they were last season. Obviously, Darcy Kemper's no longer there, so veteran took a wrist shot from the slot in the first. The puck sailed wide of the net. He winced but remained on the ice to finish his shift. When he went back, the broadcast showed a shot of him favoring the left side. That's a non-contact thing. That's not good because that could be anything. That could be the elbow, that could be the wrist, that could be the side. Peck. It literally could be a bunch of stuff. He came off of a standout season last year where he played in 65 regular season games, totaling 88 points, and had 13 goals and 24 points on the way to the Stanley Cup. They were shorthanded against Boston on Wednesday night, lost that game. They got to find a way to step up. MacKinnon, obviously 27 years old, the number one overall pick from 2013, is a three-time Hart Trophy finalist and is agreed to an 8-year, $100 million deal before the season started. So Colorado's got to figure out life without Nathan MacKinnon, and they got to do it quickly. They're kind of in a logjam in the middle of the upper middle portion of the Western Conference right now. They can't afford to let teams like Calgary distance themselves without MacKinnon. So guys are going to have to step up on that team to help them. If not, this could be bad for the defending Stanley Cup champions. I do think that they make the playoffs inevitably no matter what. But this 4 weeks could be the difference in being anywhere between a 2 and a 4 seed and, the 7 or the 8 and having to go and win road series the entire way to try to defend your Stanley Cup championship. So we'll keep an eye on how long MacKinnon's out. Like I said, they estimated 4 weeks, but we'll see if he's able to get back any sooner than that for the defending champions. Number 3 on our topics this week. Seattle Kraken center Shane Wright scored goal number 1 of his National Hockey League career in a game against a team that probably should have drafted him number 1 overall. That was the Montreal Canadiens. He scored in the loss that they had earlier this week. Cool moment. Nice to see goal number 1 for a guy as good as he is and is labeled as good as he is. So cool to see that. And then, fascinating enough, it was announced that the Seattle Kraken have loaned Shane Wright to the Canadian national junior team for the 2023 World Championships on Thursday afternoon. A thing that I wouldn't have been able to talk about if I didn't record this show on Friday. He was actually the number 4 overall pick in the 2022 draft. 2 points, the goal that I mentioned, an assist in 8 games. Scored his first goal Tuesday, one day after being recalled on a conditional stint with the Coachella Valley of the AHL. He scored 4 goals in 5 games while in Coachella Valley. Going to go honor his country, going to go play for the Canadian juniors team. That should be cool. Nice to see that. He'll be joined by a couple of other will be involved in the camp with other members of National Hockey League teams. Again, it's really early. It's like 8:40 while I'm recording this, so not fully awake yet. So I digress. So that's cool to see. Right, it's going to be a part of the camp for the World Junior Championships and Team Canada. awesome job for him to be able to honor his country. Good future for the kid. I hope that it goes well for him. We'll see exactly where the next step is for Shane Wright and the Seattle Kraken. Big Jim talked about them a little bit in the Five for Fighting. His first take or second take was are the Kraken for real? The way I look at it, with these young guys and the vets they have from the expansion draft and free agency, they're as real as they're going to get. Obviously, it's a log jam in the West. We talked about it a little bit with McKinnon's injury. There are a lot of good teams in the West this year. Maybe the Kraken fall back to earth, but I think they end up still a playoff team when it's all said and done. Number 4 in our 5 topics of the Five for Fighting this week, the streak is over. Kind of like The Undertaker never losing at WrestleMania, the Boston Bruins never lost at home. That was until Monday night when the Vegas Golden Knights defeated the Boston Bruins by a final score of 4-3 in a shootout. Vegas got up in this game early 3-0, and this Bruins team still found a way to get back into this game and make it a 3-3 game to force overtime before falling in a shootout to the West powerhouse Vegas Golden Knights. It is their first loss in 15 games. They were 14-0 coming into the game. Kudos to the Boston Bruins on ice. I've talked about how much I think that their organization is, for lack of a better term, bag of shit with the way that they handled other situations. But I can't take away from the guys that are playing on ice right now. Those guys are really good, and they're playing really good together. That's something that teams strive for, the chemistry and the gel that the Boston Bruins have on ice. And hiccup obviously against Vegas here. The bigger hiccup is that they were down 3-0. That hasn't happened a lot to this Boston Bruins team this season. So cool to see them rally back into that game and show the fight that some people may question, because you don't know if you have that dog in you. You don't know if you have that fight in you until you get punched in the mouth. Boston got punched in the mouth, and they showed they have that dog in them. Bruins are going to be a team that's going to be a hard out anytime you play them, and they prove that with this showing against Vegas. While the streak is over, like Brock Lesnar and the Undertaker streak, there's still a powerhouse to be reckoned with in the future. Our final topic for today's show, history for Mitch Marner of the Tampa Bay Lightning, with his goal scored on Thursday in at least 5-0 drumming of the Los Angeles Kings. Marner has extended his Maple Leaf record, 21 consecutive games with a point scored for the young Canadian winger. A cool moment for him, obviously, with the history that the Toronto Maple Leafs have. For him to have that record, according to NHL.com. I didn't get to research that enough. I'm just taking it right from NHL.com and giving you guys the feed there. Cool moment, like I said, to have such a historical record for such a great franchise. And I get it. Can't win the cup. Whatever. It's still cool to see the fact that he got that streak elevated again. He's scored to extend his point streak to 21 games. 28 points on the year, 10 goals, 18 assists during the streak, actually, not just on the season. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's an awesome record. If it's not the record, then I blame NHL.com for falsely headlining that. Maple Leafs playing really well right now. I think that this is a team that I don't necessarily know that I think they hoist Lord Stanley, but I think that this is a team that's going to be a serious contender sooner rather than later. If they're not in the thick of it late in the year, obviously 3 points behind Boston right now, who playing out of their mind at 21-3-1. The Maple Leafs sitting at 17-5-6, 3 points behind a team with an 860 win percentage or point percentage. So I think that this Maple Leafs team If they're not in the Final Four this year, I think they could be playing for an Eastern Conference title sooner rather than later. So kudos to those guys. Kudos to Mitch Marner for, 21 consecutive games with a point in the Toronto Maple Leafs win on Thursday night against the Kings. And finally, last but certainly not least on this show for this week is the Grip and Rip It Player of the Week. That's going to go to Tage Thompson of the Buffalo Sabres. Tage played in 3 games this week, and he accumulated a total of 11 points. It's a lot. And we'll talk about those games here real quick. His first game of the week, he scored 3 points against the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche, having 2 assists and a goal. He then scored 2 points against the Sharks, a goal and an assist. And the big one happened late or mid-evening last night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. 5 goals, 1 assist, 6 total points. That dude was fucking bombing rippers all night last night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. 5 goals. We call 5 strikeouts the golden sombrero. 5 goals should be like the golden hockey helmet. Kudos to that guy. Awesome performance. Obviously he had the hat trick, and then we have the hockey helmet, and then I think we have the golden hockey helmet with 5 goals scored. Kudos to Tage Thompson, third participant and winner of the Grip It and Rip It Player of the Week award. So that's the show. It was a lot of fun to talk to you guys about the National Hockey League. I also was able to peel back a layer of my personal life and let you guys know why you're getting this a little bit later than usual. Sorry about that, guys. Going to get back on the regular schedule. Obviously, the Huddle Up stuff, they'll go back to the regular Tuesday night live stuff, so I'll be able to record this on Thursday by itself. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I appreciate you guys being a part of the Huddle Up podcast family. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, thumbs up, 5-star review if you're on any of your major podcast catchers. Tell a friend. If you know a friend who's a hockey fan, give them the link. Let them listen to me ramble about the National Hockey League. Maybe they agree, maybe they disagree. Maybe I can get somebody on here to debate with me. I don't know. It should be a lot of fun. I want everybody to be included because I think hockey is a game that everybody should love. If you haven't already, go over to any of our social media pages, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Huddle Up Pod, Linktree in all of those, which will direct you to everybody's personal Twitter account, obviously the Twitter account of the show if you're not getting it on Twitter. It'll also link you to our merchandise over at tpublic.com. You can go to tpublic.com/huddleuppod. 40-ish designs, including a couple of cool hockey ones. So if you want to support Five for Fighting, go pick up one of those cool hockey designs. If you want to see your team's design on there, reach out to me and I'll talk to Big Jim about trying to get a shirt for your team available with the Huddle Up podcast stuff. Other than that, guys, again, you can follow me on Twitter at They Call Me Burn. You can follow me on TikTok if you like talking about wrestling. That's at FKC Wrestling. You can listen to me on the Take 3 Wrestling podcast, which we recorded late last night with myself, Big Jim of the Huddle Up podcast feed, and our good friend Joe Lopez. Ernest was out due to obligations or something. I don't know. I'm just going to make that up. And obviously, check out all the stuff that we have here on the Huddle Up podcast feed, including the live show on Tuesday with Jim, Ernest, Matt, and the student of the game, Kyle Nash, as well as Big Jim's 5 observations. But that's my time in the sin bin. I've got to go do some more enforcing. I'll see you guys next week when I commit my next penalty for 5 for fighting on Huddle Up Podcast.